Chriselda Lewis is with the Minister of Police, Chriselda. What's the Minister saying, Chriselda?
Well, Desiree, these live pictures from Pimville, you can see the Minister of Police, General Chriselda, together with the National Police Commissioner, have just arrived here at the home of Nhlanhla. You would recall that police issued a statement a bit earlier on saying that they're investigating a case of public violence and malicious damage to property after an explosion caused damage to a house in Pimville. A bit earlier on, you'd recall on our sister program, Morning Live, we did show you the damage to some of the houses surrounding the home of Nhlanhla. Also, if you take a look towards where the investigators are showing him at this particular stage, is where it's believed what police are now saying they're investigating. They've indicated they are investigating the use of a commercial explosive in this particular matter. So what investigators are showing at this particular point is where they are combing the scene. I'm sure police will be able to explain to us what they say they're investigating to have been the use of these commercial explosives in this incident. The minister, together with the police commissioner and investigators, have now gone inside the home of Nhlanhla. They're indicating that they're investigating the possible use of commercial explosives in this incident. If I could ask my colleague Mkhize to also show you where we are at this stage. Neighbours have come out to this particular area. It had been cordoned off a little bit earlier on. Not many of them want to speak to us at this stage, obviously, because they're saying they're still very shook by what took place earlier on. We did show you some of the damage. I'll just take you to where we are at this stage. My colleague Mkhize, if he can come with me, and we'll show you what a bit closer what investigators were showing the police minister a bit earlier on. This is part of the scene. We understand that they were combing, and he is going inside to speak to some of the neighbours who were affected by what had taken place here. Recall, as I showed you a bit earlier on, if we look on the floor there, that is where the windows of this house, which is next door to that of Nhlanhla, were damaged. This is just about one of the houses. I counted about two next to his home that had been damaged this morning. We understand the incident took place at about 4 o'clock this morning. Take a look right there. Also at that window there is where that has also been damaged. The minister, we're not going to go into that discussion at this stage. He's gone in to speak to, you would recall, a lady that I had spoken to earlier on this morning. Investigators have also gone in with him to speak to the neighbours who've been affected by what police are describing as, they're saying they're investigating the possible use of commercial explosives in this incident. So that is the official word that we have from police at this stage. The minister has arrived. He's speaking now to one of the residents. This is a next door neighbour to Nhlanhla. So perhaps we'll be able to get a bit more from him once he's got that briefing from investigators. He is now speaking to one of the neighbours whose house, the windows, as you can see on the visuals that my colleague Mkhize is showing you, these were the windows that were damaged. So official word from the police. We were quite skeptical, of course, to say exactly what would have taken place here without that official word from police. Police, of course, in that, which have also posted on social media, they say they are currently investigating the possible use of commercial explosives in this incident. That is what we're getting from them at this particular stage. So you'd see through that door, the police minister is still in discussions or having a word with the families, next door neighbours of Nhlanhla about what they heard. The lady that the minister is speaking to currently, you would recall, on our sister program, Morning Live, we did speak to her. And she told us she heard a loud bang, and she and the children are unharmed. They are still inside the house. They've remained inside the house for the majority of this morning that we have been here.
Chriselda, thank you so much.
These are...
Well, that's Chriselda Lewis. She's at the house of Nhlanhla. And Chriselda, you wanted to make one more point.
Yes, Desiree, I was indicating that we will be expecting perhaps an update from the minister anytime now. He would obviously give us an update of what the current situation is around the country. From their view, I must tell you, around Johannesburg, Desiree, it has been incredibly quiet. It's been incredibly quiet. The taxis that we were expecting to operate this morning, there were very few people who were inside taxis and heading to wherever they were this morning. We managed to check the taxi ranks as well, one of the busiest here in Soweto, the Bara taxi rank. That also incredibly quiet this morning. Very, very quiet around Soweto, around the areas leading into Soweto as well. In the Johannesburg CBD, a far cry, of course, from what we saw yesterday in the early hours of the morning, when my colleague Sashin had been out in the early hours of the morning, and there had been some incidents taking place in Braamfontein. You would recall that the minister earlier did tell us that 57 people have been arrested. This is from overnight. Perhaps we'll be able to get an update from him now on where that stands. What is the current situation from their view in terms of the monitoring and deployment that they have done? What is the current situation on the ground? Because, of course, you would know, in addition to the police deployment, there was that authorization, of course, from the president as well. And in fact, he is coming out now, and perhaps we'll be able to get an update. Minister, good morning once again.
Can we see
okay.
all people affected?
All the people affected first. All right, and then you'll have a chat with us. All right, the minister indicating is heading to one of the other homes now. The minister just having discussions, Desiree, with one of the families that was affected here. And, of course, they will relay to you what they told us earlier. He is heading now with investigators to one of the other homes that was also affected by what police have described as an investigation into the alleged use of commercial explosives in this incident. So I will move with them towards this area. And he's also headed inside or inspecting what we had shown you earlier of the shattered glass at the windows of the next door neighbours of Nhlanhla.